The ship moved slowly through the darkness of space. It was a small vessel, painted white and blue, carrying the flag of Earth on its side. Inside sat two humans who had traveled very far from home. Ambassador looked through the window at the massive station ahead. The orbital summit was the largest structure he had ever seen. It floated in the empty space between three star systems, built by 12 different alien species over thousands of years. The station was shaped like a giant ring, spinning slowly, with lights glowing from millions of windows. "We are arriving," said Captain from the pilot's seat. She was a woman of 40 years, with short black hair and calm eyes. She had served in Earth's space fleet for 20 years and had seen many strange things, but even she felt nervous today. Nodded but did not speak. He was thinking about what waited for them inside that station. The Galactic Council had called this meeting. They had not asked. They had demanded. And when 12 powerful alien civilizations demand something, humans must listen. The ship entered the docking bay. Metal clamps grabbed the hull and held it in place. Air hissed as the pressure balanced between the ship and the station. Then the door opened and stepped out into a new world. The hallway was enormous. The ceiling was so high that clouds actually formed near the top. Strange plants grew along the walls and small creatures flew between them. Aliens of many shapes walked past, some tall, some short, some floating, some crawling. They all looked at the two humans with curious eyes. A tall creature approached them. It had gray skin, 4 arms, and a face like a mask. Its name was, and it was the High Counselor of the Galactic Council. "You have come," said. Its voice was deep and cold. "Good, the Council is waiting, follow me." And followed. They walked through long corridors and crossed bridges over deep chasms. Finally, they reached a great door made of some unknown metal. It opened silently, and they entered the council chamber. The chamber was round and vast. Seats rose up on all sides like a stadium, filled with aliens from every known civilization. At the center was a platform where the humans were meant to stand. Above them, 12 thrones hung in the air, each holding a representative of the ruling species. Walked to the platform. He could feel thousands of eyes watching him. Some looked curious, some looked angry, many looked like they were looking at insects. "Humans," said from its floating throne, "you know why you are here." Kept his face calm. "You have called us, we have come, please speak your purpose." A creature on another throne laughed. It was small and round, covered in golden fur. Its name was, and it represented the Merchant Guild. "So polite, I like this one, but politeness will not help you today, little human." Another alien spoke. This one was made of living crystal, and light moved through its body when it talked. "The Council has made a decision. We have studied your home system. Your planet Earth sits near deposits of rare minerals, minerals that the galaxy needs." Nodded slowly. "We know of these minerals. We have been mining them for our own use." "Your use is not important," said flatly. "The galaxy's needs are greater than one small species. You will give us access to these deposits. You will allow our mining ships to enter your system. You will accept our terms." His hands tightened into fists at her sides, but she stayed silent. Looked at each of the 12 counselors. They were all powerful. Their civilizations had existed for millions of years. They had conquered star systems and built empires, and they were all looking at humanity like it was nothing. "What are your terms?" asked calmly. Waved one of its 4 hands, and a hologram appeared in the air. It showed a map of Earth's solar system, with all the planets and moons marked clearly. "You will give us the mining rights to Mars, the asteroid belt, and 3 of Jupiter's moons. In exchange, we will allow you to keep your home planet. We will also provide you with basic technology upgrades and protection from other threats." The chamber was silent. The aliens waited for the humans to cry, to beg, to bargain. This was how things worked. Younger species always submitted to older ones. It was the natural order of the galaxy. Took a deep breath. He thought about Earth. He thought about the billions of people living their lives, raising their children, dreaming their dreams. He thought about everything humanity had built over thousands of years, and he thought about what this council was really asking. They were not asking for minerals. They were asking humanity to kneel. They were asking humans to accept their place at the bottom of the galactic order. They were asking for submission. "You want us to bargain," said slowly. "You want us to negotiate, to find a middle ground, to make a deal." Rubbed its small hands together. "Yes, yes. This is how things are done. You give us something, we give you something. Everyone is happy. So what do you offer?" She looked back at him. They had talked about this moment for months. They had prepared. They had planned. And now the time had come. Turned back to face the council. His heart was beating fast, but his voice was steady. "No." The single word echoed through the massive chamber. For a moment, no one moved. No one spoke. It was as if time itself had stopped. Leaned forward on its throne. "What did you say?" "I said no," repeated. "We will not bargain. We will not negotiate. We will not give you our system. We will not accept your terms. The answer is no." The silence broke like glass. Voices erupted from every direction. Aliens shouted and screamed. Some stood up from their seats. Others called for order. But mostly there was confusion. Pure, complete confusion. Because in 10,000 years of galactic history, no species had ever simply said no. Watch the chaos spreading through the chamber. Aliens were arguing with each other. Some looked angry. Some looked shocked. Some looked afraid. And she understood why. For the first time in their long history, the Galactic Council did not know what to do next. And that was exactly what they had planned. The chaos in the council chamber continued for several minutes. Stood perfectly still on the platform, watching the storm he had created. Beside him, kept her eyes moving, studying every alien in the room, looking for threats. High Counselor finally raised all four of its arms. "Silence," it commanded. Its voice boomed through the chamber like thunder. Slowly, the noise died down. Aliens returned to their seats, but the tension remained, thick as smoke in the air. Stared down at with cold, unblinking eyes. "Perhaps you did not understand us, human. Perhaps our translation systems failed. So I will say it again using simple words. Give us your minerals. Accept our offer. This is not a request." Did not look away from those alien eyes. "I understood you perfectly, and my answer remains the same. No." The small golden creature made a sound like a squeaking wheel. "This is madness. You cannot refuse the council. We have offered you a fair deal. Protection, technology, you should be grateful." Grateful, spoke for the first time. Her voice was sharp and clear. "You want to take most of our solar system. You want us to become servants in our own home, and we should be grateful." Another counselor spoke. It was a being made of shadows and smoke with no clear shape. Its name was, and it led the military alliance. The female soldier speaks boldly, but words mean nothing against power. "Human, your species has existed for what? A few 100,000 years. We have existed for billions. Our weapons could destroy your entire planet in seconds. Think carefully before you speak again." The threat hung in the air like poison. Many in the chamber nodded. This was the way things worked. The strong ruled the weak. The old conquered the young. It had always been so. But only smiled. It was a small smile, barely visible, but saw it and something cold moved through its ancient body. It had seen many species come before this council. It had seen them cry. It had seen them beg. It had seen them bargain desperately for scraps, but it had never seen one smile. "You find this amusing?" asked carefully. "I find it interesting," said. "You threaten us with destruction. You believe we fear death, but you do not understand humans at all." He stepped forward on the platform, and his voice rose to reach every corner of the chamber. "We are a young species. This is true. We have only recently learned to travel between stars. We do not have ancient technology or billion-year-old empires, but we have something else, something you have forgotten. And what is that? Asked, its shadowy form shifting with curiosity. We have nothing to lose. The words fell like stones into still water. Continued. Your civilizations are old, you have wealth beyond counting, you have power beyond measure, you have everything to protect, but we are just beginning, we have no great empire to defend, no ancient treasures to guard. If you attack us, you might destroy us, but you will lose much, and we will make sure of that. The crystal being spoke again. You are threatening us, you, a species that cannot even leave its own system without our permission. I am not threatening anyone, said calmly. I am simply explaining. Humans do not surrender, we never have. When enemies came to our lands, we fought. When disasters struck our world, we survived. When death came for us, we looked it in the eye and refused to fall. This is who we are. This is what you face. Stepped forward to stand beside him. You call us young, you call us weak, but you forget how we became what we are. We climbed out of caves. We crossed oceans on wooden ships. We split the atom and touched the moon. Every step of our journey was marked by struggle, and every struggle made us stronger. Waved its small paws nervously. But surely you want something. Everyone wants something. Name your price. We can negotiate. We can find common ground. There is no price, said. Our home is not for sale. Our future is not for trade. You asked us to bargain and we refuse, not because we are foolish, not because we are proud, but because some things cannot be bargained away. The chamber fell silent again, but this silence was different from before. Before there had been shock. Now there was something else, something that looked almost like fear. Leaned back in its floating throne. It had ruled the council for 3,000 years. It had seen empires rise and fall. It had made decisions that changed the fate of galaxies. And now, for the first time in centuries, it did not know what to do. You understand, said slowly, that there will be consequences for this refusal. Yes, said simply. You understand that we cannot allow a precedent to be set. If one species refuses us, others might try the same. The entire order of the galaxy could fall apart. I understand. Then why? His voice cracked with something almost like emotion. Why throw away your future? Why doom your people? For what? Pride, honor. These are empty words that mean nothing against the cold reality of power. Looked at the High Counselor for a long moment. Then he spoke, and his words were soft but clear. On Earth we have a saying, it is better to die on your feet than to live on your knees. You offer us survival as servants. We choose freedom, whatever the cost. Shadowy form grew larger with anger. Then you have chosen death. Perhaps, said, her voice steady as stone, but we will not choose slavery, not today, not ever. The council members looked at each other. They communicated in ways humans could not understand, through thoughts, through lights, through vibrations in the air. They were trying to decide what to do with these strange, stubborn creatures from a small blue planet. Watched them carefully. He knew this moment was dangerous. One wrong word could start a war. One mistake could mean the end of everything. But he also knew that backing down now would mean a different kind of end, a slow death of the human spirit. Finally spoke again. We will give you time to reconsider. Return to your ship. Think about what you have done today. Think about the lives of your people. When the night cycle ends, we will call you back, and we will expect a different answer. It was not a victory, but it was not defeat either. It was a pause, a breath before the storm. Bowed his head slightly. We will use the time wisely. He turned and walked toward the great door, followed close behind. The aliens watched them go, thousands of eyes tracking every step. Just before they reached the door, whispered to him, "Do you think they believe us?" Did not turn his head. It does not matter what they believe. It only matters what we do next. The door closed behind them, and they were alone in the corridor. The weight of what had just happened pressed down on them like a physical force. "We just refused the entire galaxy," said quietly. Nodded, "Yes, we did. They will not accept this. They will come for us." "I know." Looked at him with steady eyes. "Then we need to show them why that would be a mistake." Smiled grimly. "Yes, it is time for the next part of our plan." They walked back toward their ship, two humans alone in a station filled with aliens who saw them as nothing. But they carried a secret that would change everything. The galaxy thought humanity was weak. The galaxy was wrong. The night cycle on the orbital summit lasted exactly 12 standard hours. During this time, the lights dimmed throughout the station, and most species rested or slept. But in the council chambers, there was no rest. The 12 ruling species were in deep discussion, trying to understand what had just happened. High Counselor sat in a private room with the other counselors. The walls glowed with soft light, and strange plants released calming scents into the air. But no one felt calm. "This is unacceptable," said its shadow form rippling with anger. "No species has ever refused us. If we allow this, others will follow. The entire structure of galactic civilization will collapse." The crystal being, whose name was Praxis, sent beams of light through its body as it thought. "Perhaps we moved too quickly. Humans are young. They do not understand how things work. We should explain to them more clearly." "Explain," squeaked. "We offered them protection, technology, a place in the galactic order. What more is there to explain?" "They do not want a place in our order," said quietly. "They want their own place, their own order." The room fell silent. This was the heart of the problem. For millions of years, the galaxy had been organized in a simple way. The old species ruled. The young species served. Everyone had their place and everyone accepted it. Until now. "Then we must force them to accept," said. "Send the fleet, destroy their colony ships, burn their outposts, show them the price of defiance." "That is one option," Praxis said carefully. "But it carries risks. We know very little about human military strength. They have been secretive." Laughed nervously. "What strength? They have a few hundred ships at most, old technology, no real weapons. What can they possibly do against our combined fleets?" "I am not so sure," said slowly. "There is something strange about these humans, the way they refused us, the way they showed no fear. It troubles me." Meanwhile, on the human ship, and were preparing for the next phase. Sat at the communication console, her fingers moving quickly over the controls. "Connection established with Earth Command. Admiral is standing by." A hologram appeared in the center of the small cabin. It showed a woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She wore the uniform of Earth's space fleet, with stars on her shoulders marking her high rank. "Ambassador," Admiral said, "we received your report. The Council has given you until the night cycle ends." "Yes, Admiral, they expect us to change our answer." "And will you?" Smiled slightly, "No." Admiral nodded, a hard look in her eyes. "Good. Then it is time. Project Shadow is ready. On your signal we will begin." Looked at with concern. "Are you sure about this? Once we show them, there is no going back." "There was never any going back," said. "From the moment we stepped onto this station, our path was set. The only question was how we would walk it." He turned to the hologram of Admiral. "Begin the operation. Show the galaxy what humanity has built." The night cycle ended. The lights brightened throughout the orbital summit. And in the council chamber, the 12 rulers took their places once again, waiting for the humans to return. The great door opened and walked in, followed close behind. They crossed the chamber and stepped onto the central platform just as before, but something was different now. They carried themselves differently. Their eyes were brighter. Their steps were stronger. Noticed immediately. "You seem confident, human. I hope this means you have reconsidered our offer." Bowed his head politely. "We have given your offer much thought, and we have prepared our response." He raised his hand and activated a device on her wrist. A hologram appeared in the air above the platform, but this hologram was different from anything the Council had seen before. It showed space. Specifically, it showed the space near Jupiter, the largest planet in Earth's solar system. At first, there seemed to be nothing unusual, just the giant planet with its swirling storms, surrounded by its many moons. Then something changed. A section of empty space began to shimmer. It was as if reality itself was being peeled away like the skin of a fruit, and from behind that shimmer, ships emerged. Not dozens of ships, not hundreds, thousands. The hologram zoomed in, showing the vessels in detail. They were massive warships, bristling with weapons that even the Council did not recognize. They moved in perfect formation, emerging from hidden bases that had been built inside the storms of Jupiter itself. Made a choking sound. That is not possible. We monitored your system. We had sensors. We would have detected." "Your sensors saw what we wanted them to see," said calmly. "For 50 years we have been building in secret, hiding our true strength, waiting for this moment." More ships appeared in the hologram. Some emerged from the asteroid belt, where they had been disguised as rocks. Others came from the dark side of Earth's moon. Still, more appeared from bases on distant moons of Saturn and Neptune. 5,000 ships, said. Each one armed with weapons we developed ourselves. Each one crewed by humans who would rather die than surrender. Shadow form had grown still. "This is a trick. Images can be faked." "Then let us show you something that cannot be faked." Pressed another button. The hologram changed to show a different view, a live view of the space around the orbital summit itself. And there, at the edge of the system, a new set of ships was arriving. Human ships, 100 of them, dropping out of faster-than-light travel just minutes away from the station. The council members turned to look at the real windows of the chamber. Through the transparent walls, they could see distant points of light, the engines of the approaching fleet. "We brought a small demonstration," said, "just in case you needed proof." Stood slowly from its throne. Its 4 arms hung at its sides, and for the first time, saw something like real fear in its alien eyes. "You have been planning this," said, "all this time while you pretended to be weak." "We were never pretending," corrected. "We were preparing. There is a difference." "But why?" Praxis asked, its crystal body flickering with confusion. "Why hide? Why not tell us you were strong? We would have treated you differently." Answered, "Would you? Or would you have simply attacked us sooner, before we were ready? We have studied your history, Counselor. We know what you do to species that threaten your power." The chamber was in chaos. Alien representatives were shouting, arguing, demanding answers. Some called for immediate military action. Others called for retreat. No one knew what to do. Raised his voice above the noise. "We did not come here to threaten you. We came here to deliver a message. Humanity will not be bullied. We will not be conquered. We will not kneel, but we also do not want war." He let those words settle before continuing. "You offered us a deal, our resources for your protection. We reject that deal, but we offer a different one. Leave us alone. Respect our territory, treat us as equals, and in return we will be peaceful neighbors. We will trade. We will share knowledge. We will help build a better galaxy." Stared at him for a long moment. "And if we refuse your deal?" Met the counselor's gaze without flinching. "Then you will learn why humans are called the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Not because we are the strongest, not because we have the best weapons, but because we never, ever give up." The human fleet outside the station held its position, waiting. Inside the chamber, the council faced a choice they had never imagined they would have to make. For the first time in galactic history, the balance of power had shifted, and nothing would ever be the same again. The council chamber had fallen into a strange silence. It was not the silence of peace, but the silence of creatures trying to understand something completely new. The alien representatives stared at the hologram still floating above the platform, showing the human fleet in perfect formation. High Counselor had not moved from its throne. Its four hands were pressed together, and its masked face showed no expression. But inside, ancient thoughts were racing through its mind. How, finally asked, how did you do this without us knowing? Clasped his hands behind his back. You watched us, your sensors covered our system, your spies walked among us, but you made a mistake. You assumed that because we were young, we were simple. You assumed that because we were weak, we were stupid. We are not stupid, added. We learned from you. Every time your ships visited our system, we studied them. Every piece of technology you gave us, we took apart and rebuilt. Every secret you thought you kept, we discovered. Praxis, the crystal being, made a sound like breaking glass. But the energy required to build such a fleet, the resources, we would have detected the mining operations. Would you? Asked. We mined asteroids that your sensors ignored. We processed materials on the dark side of our moon. We built factories inside Jupiter's storms where your instruments could not see. Everything was done in darkness, in silence, in places you never thought to look. Shadow form rippled angrily. This changes nothing. You have ships, yes, but we have more. The combined fleets of 12 civilizations could crush you. Could you? Turn to face the shadow creature directly. Let us think about this carefully. Yes, you have more ships, more weapons, more soldiers, but to use them you would have to bring them here. That would take time. And while you gathered your forces, what would humanity do? He let the question hang in the air. We would not wait, answered for him. We would strike first. Your shipyards, your fuel stations, your communication hubs. We have studied your civilization for 50 years. We know where you are weak. Squeaked nervously. You would attack civilian targets. That is against all galactic law. We would attack military targets, corrected. And yes, some civilians might suffer. War is terrible. That is why we do not want it. But if you force us to fight, we will fight to win. We will not follow rules that were designed to protect the powerful. Held up one of its hands for silence. The chamber quieted. You speak of war as if you understand it, said slowly. But you do not. Your species has only fought itself. You have never faced a true galactic conflict. You do not know the horror of worlds burning, of species dying, of civilizations being erased from history. His expression softened slightly. You are right, we have not seen such things, but our ancestors knew war. For thousands of years, humans fought each other. We killed millions of our own kind. We destroyed our own cities. We poisoned our own planet, and still we survived. He stepped forward, and his voice became quieter but stronger. You think our violence is a weakness, but it is our greatest strength. We know how to fight. We know how to suffer. We know how to keep going when everything is lost. You ask if we understand war. We were born from war. We are shaped by war. And if you bring war to us, we will show you things you have never imagined. The chamber was completely silent now. Every alien in the room was listening, trying to understand this strange species that spoke of terrible things with such calm certainty. Praxis spoke carefully. You say you do not want war, but everything you describe is war. This fleet, these weapons, these plans, you have prepared for nothing else. No, said. We have prepared for everything else. We have built schools and hospitals. We have created art and music. We have raised families and planted gardens. We have done all the things that make life worth living, but we have also prepared to defend those things, because we know that the universe is dangerous and peace must be protected. Stepped forward to stand beside him. When we were children, our parents taught us a simple rule: speak softly and carry a big stick. It means that you should always try to solve problems with words, but you should also have the power to back up those words. We came here to talk, but we also brought our stick. She gestured at the hologram of the fleet. This is our stick. 5,000 ships built by human hands, crewed by human hearts. Every one of them represents years of work, mountains of resources, and the hopes of billions of people. We did not build them because we wanted to threaten you. We built them because we had to, because we knew this day would come. Was silent for a long time. The other counselors waited, watching their ancient leader struggle with thoughts no one had prepared for. Finally spoke. I have lived for 9,000 years. I have seen species rise and fall. I have watched civilizations build themselves up and tear themselves down, and in all that time I have never seen anything like you. Is that good or bad? Asked. I do not know. His voice was heavy with age and confusion. When younger species join the galactic community, they are always afraid, they beg for help, they accept whatever terms we offer, they are grateful for any scraps we give them. But you are not afraid, you do not beg, you do not accept. Why? Thought about the question carefully. It deserved a real answer. On Earth, he said, we have many stories about heroes, people who faced impossible odds and refused to give up, people who stood alone against armies, people who died rather than surrender. These stories are very old. They come from every culture, every nation, every time in our history, and they all teach the same lesson. He paused. The lesson is this: courage is more important than survival. A life lived on your knees is not worth living. Better to stand tall for one moment than to crawl forever. This is what our ancestors believed. This is what we believe. This is who we are. Nodded. You have power. You have ships and weapons and armies, but you cannot take away our pride. You cannot make us afraid. You cannot break our spirit. And without those things, you cannot truly conquer us. Shadow form had grown smaller, less threatening. Then what do you want? If not war, if not surrender, what? We want respect, said simply. We want to be treated as equals, not because we have earned it according to your rules, not because we are old enough or powerful enough, but because we are here. We exist. We have our own dreams and our own future, and we will not let anyone take that away from us. The council members looked at each other. They had never faced such a situation before. Their entire system was based on age and power, but here was a species that rejected both measures. Here was a species that demanded respect simply because they existed. It was madness, it was impossible, it was something completely new. And deep inside, in places they did not want to admit existed, some of them wondered if the humans might be right. Rose slowly from its throne. You have given us much to think about. This council will need time to discuss, but I will say this: you have proven that humanity is not what we expected. Perhaps we were wrong about you. Bowed his head slightly. That is all we ask, a chance to prove ourselves, a chance to be seen for what we truly are. Outside the station, the human fleet held its position. Inside, the council began to realize that the galaxy was about to change. And at the center of it, all stood two humans who had refused to kneel. 3 days passed on the orbital summit. 3 days of meetings, arguments, and difficult decisions. The Galactic Council met in closed sessions, debating what to do about the human problem. Voices were raised, threats were made, ancient alliances were tested. And waited on their ship, watching the endless dance of lights outside their window. Other ships came and went from the station, messengers carrying news to distant systems, military commanders arriving for emergency meetings, diplomats trying to understand what was happening. They are scared, said, watching a formation of alien warships pass by. I can see it in how they move. They are not sure what to do. Nodded slowly. Fear can make people do foolish things. We must be careful now. The hardest part is not showing strength. It is knowing when to pull back. On the 3rd day, a message came. The council was ready to speak. They walked once more through the long corridors of the station. But this time, the aliens they passed looked at them differently. Not with curiosity or contempt, with something else. Something that might have been respect, or might have been fear, perhaps both. The great door opened and they entered the council chamber. The seats were filled as before, thousands of aliens watching from every direction. But the atmosphere had changed. There was less anger now and more uncertainty. High Counselor stood at the center of its floating throne. The other 11 counselors surrounded it, their strange forms arranged in a half-circle. They waited in silence as the humans took their place on the platform. "We have deliberated," said. Its voice was calmer now, measured and careful. "We have considered every option: war, sanctions, blockades, destruction. We have counted the costs and weighed the benefits." Kept his face neutral, revealing nothing. "And we have made a decision." The chamber held its breath. "We will not attack humanity. We will not blockade your system. We will not demand your resources." A wave of whispers passed through the watching aliens. This was unprecedented. The Council never backed down. The Council never changed its demands. The small golden creature spoke up quickly. "But this does not mean we accept your terms. This is not surrender. This is simply a strategic adjustment." "Call it what you wish," said tiredly. "The result is the same. We have decided that war with humanity would cost too much. Your fleet is smaller than ours, but you have shown that you are willing to fight. And a war against those who are willing to die is always expensive." Shadow form rippled. "More importantly, we do not know what other secrets you are hiding. If you could build 5,000 ships in secret, what else might you have? Better to leave you alone and watch." Finally spoke. "We appreciate the Council's wisdom, but I must ask, is this peace, or merely a pause before the next threat?" Made a sound that might have been a laugh. "You ask difficult questions, human. I do not know the answer. We have never been in this situation before." Praxis, the crystal being, moved forward on its throne. "Perhaps we can offer something new, not the old arrangement where you serve us, not war where we destroy each other, something different." "Go on," said. "Partnership." Praxis let light flow through its body as it spoke. "True partnership. You keep your territory, you develop your own way, but you also join the galactic community not as servants but as members. You share what you learn, you help when you can, and in return we do the same." Looked at, this was more than they had hoped for. It was exactly what humanity had wanted from the beginning, a place at the table, not beneath it. But was careful. Partnership requires trust, and trust takes time to build. What guarantees can you offer that this is not simply another trick? Nodded slowly. "A fair question, here is our answer." It raised one of its 4 hands, and a new hologram appeared. It showed a document, a treaty written in the languages of all 12 ruling species, and in human languages as well. This treaty establishes humanity as a recognized civilization of the galactic community. It confirms your territorial rights. It promises that no member of the Council will attack you without just cause, agreed upon by all parties. And it invites you to send a representative to serve on the Council itself. The chamber erupted in surprised voices. Aliens turned to each other, shocked by this offer. No species had ever been invited to the Council so quickly. It usually took thousands of years to earn such a position. "You offer us a seat on the Council?" asked, her voice betraying her surprise. "A junior seat," corrected quickly. "You would not have full voting rights yet, but you would be present, you would be heard. It is more than any young species has ever received." Studied the hologram carefully. He looked at every line of the treaty, searching for tricks or hidden traps, but the more he read, the more genuine it seemed. "Why?" he asked finally. "Why offer us so much? We threatened you. We refused your demands. Why reward us?" Was silent for a moment. When it spoke, its voice was different, older, wiser, perhaps even honest. "Because you have shown us something we had forgotten. We have ruled this galaxy for so long that we stopped questioning ourselves. We assumed our way was the only way. We assumed younger species existed to serve us. but you proved that another path is possible. The ancient creature looked directly at. You did not beg, you did not surrender. You stood before us as equals even though you had no right to, and that reminded me of what we were like long ago before we became what we are now. We were once like you, young, proud, unwilling to kneel. Praxis added, perhaps having you on the council will remind us of that. Perhaps you can teach us something we have forgotten. Looked at, she nodded slightly. They had come here expecting to fight for survival. Instead, they had won something greater. We accept your offer, said, but on one condition. His eyes narrowed. Name it. We want the treaty to apply to all species, not just humanity. If a new civilization rises tomorrow, they should have the same choice we had, to join as partners, not as servants. The old way of conquest and submission must end. The council members looked at each other nervously. This was a radical change to everything they had built. But smiled, or at least made a gesture that might have been a smile. You ask for everything human, you bargain hard. I told you before, said, we do not bargain at all, we only ask for what is right. A long pause followed. Then one by one the counselors gave their agreement. Some did it willingly, some did it reluctantly, but in the end all 12 agreed. Then it is done, declared. Let the record show that on this day humanity joined the Galactic Council, and let the record also show that on this day the old order ended and something new began. The chamber filled with the sound of alien voices, some celebrating, some complaining, some simply confused, but through it all and stood quietly on the platform, taking in the moment. They had done it not with weapons, not with threats, but with courage and principles. As they walked back to their ship for the last time, whispered to him, they finally understand. Nodded, they do now, but this is just the beginning. We have a place at the table, now we have to prove we deserve it. We will, said confidently. That is what humans do, we prove people wrong. Their ship launched from the station and began the long journey home. Behind them, the orbital summit shrank to a tiny point of light. Ahead of them lay Earth, and billions of people waiting to hear what had happened. As they traveled through the stars, thought about everything that had led to this moment. The 50 years of secret building, the generations of preparation, the courage of those who had come before, who had believed that one day humanity would stand among the stars as equals. They had not knelt, they had not surrendered, they had looked the galaxy in the eye and demanded respect. And in the end, the galaxy had listened. On distant worlds, news spread of what had happened. A young species had stood against the council and survived. More than survived, they had changed everything. Other young civilizations heard the story and began to wonder if perhaps they did not have to follow the old ways either. In the darkness of space, a new age was beginning. An age where strength was not measured only in ships and weapons, but in the courage to stand for what was right. And at the center of it all was a small blue planet called Earth, home to a species that had refused to kneel. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same.